نستعين به جل وعلا، نستهديه ونستغفره، نعوذ به سبحانه وتعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده صدق وعده ونصر عبده وأعز جنده وهزم الأحزاب وحده، لا شيء قبله ولا شيء بعده، مخلصين له الدين ولو كره الكافرون. وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وعظيمنا وحبيبنا وإمامنا وقدوتنا وأسوتنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم أدى الأمانة وبلغ الرسالة ونصح الأمة وكشف بإذن ربه الغمة وعبد الله ربه حتى أتاه اليقين. صل اللهم عليه وعلى آله في كل آن وحين، وارض اللهم عن أزواجه وأصحابه وأحبابه والتابعين، وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله، أنصحكم ونفسي الآثمة بتقوى الله، أحثكم وإياها على طاعته، أحذركم وإياها وبال مخالفته جل وعلا ومعصيته. أما بعد، يقول ربنا عز وجل في المحكم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء رب اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. أي والله، هذا دعاء الخليل عليه السلام. سيدنا إبراهيم الخليل صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. طبعا we always say يعني as a prelude، يلا let's say الخليل عليه الصلاة والسلام بطل التوحيد في القرآن. He is the hero of Tawheed in the Quran every time, from the beginning till the end and all this. I don't know if rebellious or rebelling is the right word, so I'm gonna hold that. I have a problem with the word revolution, for those of you who know me. I don't like revolutions. Revolutions in the Arabic language means thawra, thawra. وثورة usually thara yathuru. Yani you take things that are up, you put them down, and things that are down, you put them up, and you make a lot of mess. I like nahda, renaissance, building, not simply changing status quo, but construction. And therefore I don't think that the Anbiya led revolutions, the Prophets ﷺ. Revolutions are usually very chaotic, and there are many agendas and many things, and the clarity of the objective isn't there. But Renaissance, the positive contribution, is always the means and the objective. يعني الوسيلة والمقصد, not just the maqsad. Because the objective being good and the wasila being evil, the means being evil, that's no good. You can't kill people to bring them democracy. They're already dead. For example, you can't kill people to make them believers. They're already dead. They're not going to be believers anymore. Just examples. Therefore, the issue I've always had issue with the word, with using the word revolutionary as positive. I like Renaissance, revolution versus Renaissance, nahda. And that's why many people think, for example, حتى when they speak about Sayyidi Imam al-Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhu arda, they call it Thawratul Hussein, or the revolution of al-Hussein. I think this is really a problem, because al-Hussein did not lead a violent revolution. He led a non-violent renaissance. He was met with violence. Yes, well, congratulations. Anyone who wants to build and positively contribute will be met with all kinds of evil, first non-violent, then verbally violent, then eventually all kinds of violence is going to be unleashed on that movement. Aren't we there? Regardless where you are. Whether your movement is reformist, yani positively constructive, socially, politically, religiously, it doesn't matter what it is. There are lots of people who live off of violence and corruption, and they have to protect the turf. So I usually don't like to call Sayyidina Ibrahim rebellious, unless if I want to constrict it in a positive contribution kind. Al-Khalil alayhi salatu wassalam. All the Anbiya, many of the awliya who led any reformist movement, anyone who tries to correct status quo. طبعا, if you look at Sayyidina Ibrahim, the hero of Tawheed في Quran Kareem, you find him from when he was a young person, right? Young person, going through what? Going through breaking some of the idols to speak to the people, engage them intellectually. If you think those are gods, the idols you're worshipping, and I just broke them, how can they help save you if they could not save themselves? If they were so holy and blessed, how come they couldn't help themselves, save themselves first? How can they help you if they can't help themselves? Then he speaks to them about those who believe in the stars, and those who believe in the moons, and those who believe in the planets, and those who believe in the sun. And he tells them, look, these things are things that you believe in. The stars, the sun, the moon. فَلَمَّا أَفَلَتْ قَالَ لَا أُحِبُّ الْآفِلِينَ. When these things, the sun changes and the moon changes and the stars fall and collapse, this is the God that you want to hold high and worship? Al-Quran says, فَلَمَّا أَفَلَتْ. When these things moved and changed, قَالَ لَا أُحِبُّ الْآفِلِينَ. Al-Khalil alayhi salatu wasalam said, I do not worship things that change and go and collapse and move. That's not a sign of the creator of all. The creator of all is the one who creates change. Change cannot subjugate the creator of it. Otherwise it's more powerful than its creator. Change doesn't change the creator. The creator changes change. He's not subject to change. لم يكن له كفوا أحد. لم يكن له كفوا أحد سبحانه وتعالى. Then you see Sayyidina Al-Khalil alayhi salatu wasalam going through his life, then speaking with his uncle or his father, Azar. Remember, that was also, he was in the industry of the counter religion, if you want to say, building idols and all that, and selling them, and being part of the religious, political, socio-economic elites of the time. Sayyidina Ibrahim al-Khalil engages, right? Engages in a positive way, and we'll see throughout. Then you see him also, beyond that, you see him getting married, right? Our mother Sarah, then our mother Hajar, right? Both of them are honorable women. Then you see him getting children, Ismail alayhi salatu wassalam al-Dhabih. Then you see Ishaq alayhi salatu wassalam. Then you see him all building the family, all this. Among the things that you see always common in Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salatu wassalam is the notion of family, we. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي. Ya Allah, make me among those who establish the salah. Look at the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ya Rabb, make me among those who not just pray, مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاة, not just musallin. No, he did not say رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. La. رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاة. Ya Allah, make me among those who establish the salah. Because if you establish the salah establishes you. You are rooted. If you just read the salah and you're not present in the salah, there's still benefit, but the rooting is not there. Little storm comes and all the salah that it's gone, and now people go to many other sides depending on where the wind is blowing. رَبِّ اجْعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ. But Ibrahim alayhi salatu, what does he say? وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي. Ya Allah, and also all my offspring and family. Make them among those who are muqimi salah. شوف هذا ترى this is not just a story, this is a dua for all of us, huh? Especially those who have children and having a family. وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِ رَبَّنَا وَتَقَبَّلْ دُعَاء. Then Ibrahim al-Khalil says, Ya Rabbi, please accept my dua. How insistent is Al-Khalil, Khalil al-Rahman, on Rabbul Alameen? Ya Allah, make me among those who establish the salah and make my family also like them, Ya Allah. وانت يعني anybody on their deathbed, okay, what are you going to tell the children? I left you for the few millions in the bank, a couple under the mill. In the old days, under the pillow they would put them in the old days. Now because there's no more pillows. And one under this, one over there. Take, okay. You see Malakul Maut already, you are in the presence of Malakul Maut. The last thing you're going to say, if you have some debt, you're going to say, please pay my debt. I have some, if you can still speak, please give some sadaqah and zakah extra. I withheld a little bit, please give more. And then take the rest and be good. Fear Allah, there's qiyamah. Basically 2-3 words. Hatta on his deathbed, Sayyidina al-Khalil alayhi salam, yani metaphorically deathbed, where he says what? Metaphorically, no, we don't believe in total annihilation. We believe in transition. Death is not an end. It's a transition to another world, another dimension. Anyway, when he was dying, alayhi salatu wasalam, yani passing away, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Sayyidina al-Khalil, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِبَنِيهِ أَمْ كُنْتُمْ شُهَدَاءَ إِذْ حَضَرَ يَعْقُوبَ الْمَوْتِ إِذْ قَالَ لِبَنِيهِ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ بَعْدِي. Before that, Ibrahim, what are you going to worship after me? قال, and then Ibrahim says, يَا بَنِيَّ إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَى لَكُمُ الدِّينَ فَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Ibrahim al-Khalil on his deathbed, he brings his children, he says, Ya Bani, oh my beloved sons. This is the only thing he leaves them with. Inna Allah astafa lakum ad-din. Allah chose you to be part of this deen. Chose this deen for you. فَلَا تَمُوتُنْ. Be careful that you die. إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Except that you are in total engaged surrender to Allah. Muslimun. Don't be fooled by the currents and the snapshots and the videos and the YouTubes and the movies and the themes of the times you live in. Don't let that ever fool you. Ya Baniya, inna Allah astafa lakum ad-din. The only thing Sayyidina al-Khalil says to them, Allah chose this deen for you, فَلَا تَمُوتُنْ. Be careful that you die, except that you are Muslimun. In his dua that we started with, what does he say? قَالَ رَبِّ جَعَلْنِي مُقِيمَ الصَّلَاةِ وَمِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي رَبَّنَا وَتَقَبَّلْ دُعَاء. Then he moves on, not to include only his offspring. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيْ. Ya Allah, forgive me and forgive my parents. Look at that, huh? شوف. Offspring, parents, family. You see? Asl, fara', all included. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ. But shuf, Ibrahim al-Khalil doesn't just make dua for him for forgiveness and for his parents. To whom? وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Ya Allah, for all those who believe, forgive them. Shuf. Yani, may Allah Ta'ala cover us also. We're all covered with that as well, with the dua of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Oh, your grandfather Ibrahim. Why are we saying Sayyidina Ibrahim? Well, Sayyidina Ibrahim is your grandfather. I don't care who you are, he's your grandfather. Your grandfather Ibrahim, thousands of years ago, already made dua for you. رَبِّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيَّ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَوْمَ يَقُومُ الْحِسَابِ. When that day comes, Ya Allah. Look at the picture now, total picture, right? Hatta Sayyidina al-Khalil with his father or his uncle, whichever you like. He goes, the engagement, why do I say? It's because usually this revolutionary business, let me just break down, let me collapse, let me bring down some. It's not about bringing down. Okay, tamam. You brought down the regime. What's the day after? What's the point after the bringing down? Don't you want to be ready to build then destroy. If you want to destroy, besides, why destroy? Why not positively contribute and make it better? Because you might change one Pharaoh through a revolution, and you'll end up with 50 million Pharaohs. You will say that the Pharaoh before, oh, was much nicer than this Pharaoh. Please bring the other Pharaoh. And Pharaoh doesn't have necessarily one political thing, could have a religious thing, could have whatever it is. You know how it is, right? And this, then it'll take you, because tyranny adapts quickly. Tyranny learns quickly. Tyranny moves swiftly. So that they could use, you've seen many Pharaoh. We've talked last week about Pharaoh himself in the Quran. إني أخاف أن يبدل دينكم أو أن يظهر في الأرض أعوذ بالفساد. Pharaoh says, I want to kill Musa because Musa is going to change your deen and he's going to bring corruption in the land. So Pharaoh is saying about Musa. And this is why. This is so he can camouflage the eyes, blinds the eyes of the revolutionaries who think we just need to bring someone down and put someone else first. Let's little by little, and let's see what positive contribution, positive building. Example, here comes Sayyidina Ibrahim al-Khalil with his father or uncle, Azar. Worships shaitan, worships idol. What does he come to him, Sayyidina Ibrahim? قال يا أبتي. He goes to him, Ibrahim al-Khalil, says, oh my beloved father, Abati, yani my father. But صيغة تحبب, yani not just saying father. No, you are my loving father, my beloved. Ya Abati, لما تعبد? Why do you worship that which does not hear, does not see? لا تغني, and they will not help you in anything. Ya Abati, he tells him, oh father, إني قد جاءني من العلم ما لم يأتك. I received knowledge that you don't have. فاتبعني. Just follow, listen to what I'm saying. I will guide you. You will see that I will guide you to the right path. You will see. يا أبتي. He tells him the third time, لا تعبد الشيطان. Please don't worship shaitan. إن الشيطان كان للرحمن عصيا. Shaitan is always deviant and is going to take you away. He keeps telling him, Ya Abati, Ya Abati, Ya Abati, right? So even in a situation where you want to break revolutionary, break everything and say, you are worshipping shaitan and I am Khalilur Rahman. No, Ya Abati. Look at the positive contribution and construction rather than destruction. Let's destroy, then we build the whole thing new. People are people. Yeah, and you think you're going to bring human beings from Mars now? People are people. They're equipped to do evil and they're equipped to do good. It's the tarbiyah. I said you're all awesome. But are the choices that you make awesome? The tarbiyah leads you to make awesome choices rather than less than awesome choices. His father or uncle Azar, he tells him, أَرَاغِبٌ أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي يَا إِبْرَاهِيم. You don't want to follow what I follow. I worship Ibrahim. Leave me and never talk to me again. So he kicks him out, yani in our language. He forced, get out. I don't want to ever see you again. What does Sayyidina al-Khalil alayhi salatu wasalam does? قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ. Peace be upon you, Father. سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكَ رَبِّي. I will keep doing istighfar for you with my Lord. إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. My Lord is good to me. Until this point, he keeps telling him, Sayyidina al-Khalil alayhi salatu wassalam. In times today where we live, and nowadays many times where not only religiosity must be, you see, because people, before I say that, I want to say, when people grow up, they don't know. Learning first comes by imitation. You imitate those who learn. You learn from them. Once you have a certain threshold of knowledge, content, context, application, innovation, then you're at that level of scholarly ijtihad or innovation, then all right, maybe you can reach something new, or from something old you can come to some new conclusion. But first you need to know the content, and the content is you imitate, you learn from those who have already learned. No one is born knowing things. وَاللَّهُ أَخْرَجَكُم مِّن بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا. Allah says, Allah took you, brought you out of the wombs of your mother, and you don't know anything. ثُمَّ جَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ. Then He gave you hearing, sight, hearts, minds, etc. Why? So now you can learn, but not just take everything and learn. Not everything, not every ilm is beneficial. Not every ilm is nafi'. That's why in the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, Allahumma arzuqni ilman in yasaluka ilman nafi'a. Ya Allah, I ask you ilm that's nafi', beneficial knowledge. It tells you what? There is ilm that's not nafi'. There's information that is not beneficial. Information may be harmful. And that's why the Quran al-Kareem wants us to be critical thinkers, not imitators blindly per se. And that's what the Quran al-Kareem says what? الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ يَا سَلَامْ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. They hear what's being said. يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ. They hear. He says this, so she says this, so mashallah, this movie says this, so this message from the news tells you this, and the social construct now is leaning towards this, and people in the school may say this, etc. They hear things. يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ. Lakin what do they follow? Allah says, فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. They follow the best of it. They don't follow everything. Or otherwise, whatever you follow is what you are. That shapes you. That's why Al-Quran Al-Kareem focused and put the family as a unit. Yani today, when we say family is a unit, family is a unit. A unit in society, not the individual. That doesn't discount the value of the individual. On the contrary, Al-Islam teaches us we more than me. And notice, I've said it before, me, the M is always pointing down, and we, the W is always pointing up. Maybe there's a sign there. It's not the me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Al-Fatiha, you read in every salah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbi. Alhamdulillah, my Rabb. La, Rabbil Alameen. Not only you, Al-Alameen are also your brothers in creation. Even if they're a tree, that's your brother in creation. You're equal to the tree in being a creation of the Creator of all. No problem. There's a nisbah to Al-Khaliq being makhluq. You and the tree. Oh, they're all living. Everything lives. In kullu shay'in illa. Everything does tasbih to Allah, Al-Quran says. لكن لا تفقهون تسبيحهم. But you don't understand that. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, all. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawm Ad-Din, Iyaka a'budu, or Iyaka na'budu. Na'budu. You, Ya Allah, we worship. We the family, we the community, we the people, we the creation. We. إياك نعبد وإياك أستعين. لا, وإياك نستعين. And you, we seek help from, Ya Allah. Ihdini or ihdina. Ihdina. Ya Allah, guide us all. In the salah, we don't just make dua for us. That's not really the point in Islam. Not you, but we. Ihdina, Ya Allah, guide us all, Ya Allah, even those we don't like. Some people, they think they like or they don't like. Okay. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Ya Allah, guide us all. Guide us all, as-sirat al-mustaqim. Sirat alladhina an'amta alayhim, hatta an'amta alayhim, to the path of those, not the one, those you have blessed. And that's why An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Al-Hadith is Hasan to say the least. He says, خيركم, the best of you, look at this hadith. خيركم لأهله. The best of you are those who are best to their families. وأنا خيركم لأهلي. And I'm the best to my family amongst you. Notice the khairiyya where? Where's the goodness? Those of you, again, emphasizing the what? Emphasizing the issue that if there's a we, it's not me. Because today in the individualism era where everything, let's just take, now first of all, take religion out of classrooms and take religion out of our lives and all this, and then let's not only that. Let's also now focus, break now, destroy the family, rebel against religion, rebel against family, sever the family connections because you is what matter. And your parents and religion, they're trapping you, man. They're old, those old folks don't know what's going on. But you're the smart one because I'm telling you what you should be thinking. But your parents, no. Religion, I mean, you know. Why don't you take your information from XYZ? And they ought to recognize your awesomeness. Regardless. Yeah, you are awesome. But does the choice you make, is the choice you make awesome? Not all awesome people make awesome choices. Otherwise we wouldn't have had criminals. We wouldn't have had people who break the laws. We wouldn't have had people who do crazy and really evil things. We wouldn't have had wars and violence and people who invent mass weapons of destruction. We wouldn't have had that if all the choices are awesome. No. Islam does not want us to simply be rebellion in a sense of revolution just so we can break. Islam wants us to rebel in a positive way so we can build, so we can actually positively construct, not destruct to construct, but not to kill to give life, but to revive and give life. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu istajibu lillahi wa rasulihi idha da'akum lima yuhyikum. Answer the call of your Lord because He's calling you to that in which there is life for you. Sayyidina Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, I'm the best to you. Look at Sayyidina Isa, Jesus salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. As soon as he's born, what does the Quran say about him? قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. By the way, I am a slave of Allah. I'm His creation. I'm His creation. إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. I am His creation. آتَانِيَ الْكِتَابِ. And the ayah, He says then, وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي. And He commanded me to be good to my mother. Because He doesn't have a father, He commanded me to be what? Good to my mother. You see that? بَرًّا بِوَالِدَيَّ. Allah says also another ayah, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ. And we have commanded the human being that وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And with the parents, all these are emphasis on the we rather than the me. And individualism is realized maximally within the we, not within just the I, myself and I, who are actually connected to other source, alternative source of information that I receive and accept as a given fact to make me actually distance and destroy the thousands of years, cultures and religion and all that stuff because someone is telling me an idea that I should really follow without thinking. Islam wants you to think, wants you to be critical thinkers, and wants you to look like Sayyidina Ibrahim, the young man, when he was challenging, if you want to call it rebellious, let me call it challenging his society when they were doing evil, challenging his own family, father or uncle, when he was doing evil. But notice how the challenge of Sayyidina Ibrahim ﷺ was constructive. And the challenge was based on what? Ya abati indi qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam ya'tik. Oh Father, I received knowledge from Allah that which you have not. Ibrahim al-Khalil was not just challenging the status quo, if you want to call it rebellious, challenging the status quo simply because he wants to destroy the status quo. Ibrahim al-Khalil was trying to be reformist of the status quo, positive contributor to the status quo, based on what? On his own thought of what is of his own perceived awesomeness? No. He's awesome for sure, but it is based on the revelation that the Creator gave him, and based on the path of the Anbiya and the prophets of Allah before. It is based on Allah, the Creator of all, not based on just Ibrahim's own ideas. You see? That's why there's a difference. And that's why when we say La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah, we say Tawheed. The Tawheed is in what aspect? Tawheed is that you realize that, make sure that information you're receiving, you're not just receiving them unfiltered. Make sure you realize, and we tell our children that, yeah, in this time of heightened emphasis on individualism and me, myself and I, and your information comes from Maulana Google, Shaykh Google radiyallahu ta'ala an ghayrihi. All this, that we are all connected through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Jesus and Moses and Abraham, Ibrahim, and all of us are connected to the Creator of all. One should never lose sight of destiny, should never lose sight where from, where to, and why. Where do we come from? Where are we going to, and why? No matter how spectacular the current show is, the show may be very, very dazzling, dazing, and amazing, but don't let the show distract you from the real journey here. Where from, where do you come from, where to, and why? Why are you here? Why are you created? Is there a purpose or there isn't a purpose? You see Sayyidina An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, way after he moved to Medina. طبعا you know that our mother, يعني Amina bint Wahab, the mother of Sayyiduna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his mother sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed on early. Yani he barely saw her sallallahu alayhi wa sallam or lived with her, right? 6 years. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he is way after 40, he goes and looks for, hadith fi Sahih Muslim, he looks for the grave, the resting place, I don't want to say grave, the resting place of his mother, Amina bint Wahab. And Ibn Mas'ud narrates the hadith in Sahih Muslim. He says that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam went there. Until now, you, or those of you who lived in Hijaz or know this, you know where it is, right? You know where the resting place of our mother Amina bint Wahab, right? And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam took the Sahaba and went there and visited the resting place of his mother Amina. Ibn Mas'ud said he sallallahu alaihi wasallam cried so much, and we all cried with him. Father and mother. We. Children learn today from something, sure. And these times we've outsourced education. Yani family used to educate, to pass down language, cultural expectations, religious expectations. Like the poet says, وينشأ ناشئ الفتيان فينا على ما كان عوده أبوه. والمعري says وما دين الفتى بحجا أو وما دان الفتى بحجا. The young person does not learn the deen because of the high intellectual analysis. وإنما يعلمه التدين أقربوه. But those who are closest to him, they teach him tadayyun, religiosity. Ma'ari 1,000 years ago is saying that. You don't teach him religiosity and culture and language, you're outsourcing that to someone else who will teach them language, culture, and religiosity as well. It's just a fact. Because the human being is a product of his environment. And we have lots of beautiful and great things in this culture. Don't take me wrong. But also I think that American Muslims have some positive to give and to contribute, especially when it comes to instilling values, social, religious, ethical values in their children. But we live in a culture, I remember, I mean, I don't know about you, and Allah forgive me if that was a mistake. But I used to watch Tom and Jerry in the old days. Until now, every now and then I watch Tom and Jerry. Oh, and then Chilly Willy. Remember Chilly Willy and then all that? Huh? So those of you remember? I remember them from the 70s or so. They used to come, and it was just something fun, nice, clean. Yeah, I mean, there's no implicit messages. At that time, you know, powers of influential YouTubers and movies and all that was still tamed a little bit. It was just plain, clean fun, more or less. You know, you watch it, you laugh, and it was nice. And today, because children are outsourced, their education is outsourced to everything else, one needs to be careful of what children consume and what even adults consume. Because you are what you consume. They say you are what you eat, and you are what you consume intellectually as well. And you see it from all the things, and sometimes, yani, with the children, you please sit and watch. If they're watching, sit and watch with them. See, is that message good, or is there an implicit message with it? And that's why the alternative, that's always good, Qasasul Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam in the Quran. The stories of the Anbiya in the Quran. Nothing better than that. What can be better than the stories that Allah tells you about the Anbiya in the Quran? All these stories. Why does Allah tell us about Musa alayhi salatu wasalam so much? Why does Allah tell us about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam so much? About Sayyidina Isa, about Sayyidina Yahya, about Sayyidina Nuh? Yeah, you say, but wait, Sayyidina Nuh's own son went on the other side. Sayyidina Lut, own wife, went to the other side. Hey. People think you know them by their fruits. Not necessarily, we beg to differ. You know them by their Rabbaniyah, not by their fruits necessarily. Because Sayyidina Nuh's fruits are always good. Sayyidina Lut is always good. And there will be Anbiya in the end of days who will come alone without anyone following them. Did they do good or not? Were they good or not? Absolutely they were. إنما أنت منذر ولكل قوم. You are, Ya Rasulullah, a guide. You point them. But guidance is from Allah. Guide, you are. Guidance is from Him. Can you guide? Yes. Should you guide? Yes. Do you give guidance? إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء. You don't give guidance, Ya Rasulullah. Allah gives guidance, but you guide. Notice the difference? So our job is that guidance, not the fruits. Don't worry about all that. No. You guide, whether it works or not, that's not in your hand, but you're supposed to guide. Today, from the beginning, this issue, and I say this, and let me finish, because we really need to emphasize that the functional unit from an Islamic perspective in society is a family. A man and a woman getting married, having children, raising them to be good children, good fathers, good mothers, good uncles, good aunts, good sisters, good brothers, good neighbors, good community members, good citizens, good human beings, positive contributors. When you look at, even nowadays, all these movies to children, starting from Cinderella, lost the shoe, then found the shoe, etc. Parents and family is not present. Snow White, family is not present. Bimbo, Dumbo, whatever it is, all that stuff is family is not present. Simba, family is not present. And they're having now a new one, Miss Marvel. Rebel against all the family and all the tradition and everything else. Because you are awesome, and all your choices are awesome too. Well, there is a confounding here. You are awesome, but the choices are not necessarily always awesome. The idea of living a life is to make your choices as awesome as you're capable of being. That's the idea. And your parents are not always against you and holding you down and back. They may not know everything. Allah knows everything. That's why your connection is to Allah. Your parents are simply guides. Your connection is to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Your parents tell you he is the best. We're not the best. I am not the best. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the best. You want to follow the best? لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. In Rasulullah, Al-Quran Al-Karim says, you have the best of examples. Don't worry about what Simba does. We love Simba. I mean, don't take me wrong. But a happy picture is happy family. خَيْرُكُمْ خَيْرُكُمْ لِأَهْلِهِ. The best of you are the best to their families. That's what my Prophet tells me. Happy is not necessarily that you become individualized and cocooned and isolated, and the realization of the self is in yourself. The realization is in your family, in your community, in your world. And yes, there is something called positive contribution. And yes, life is a learning thing where you learn to improve. You are born awesome indeed. And you are always capable of being awesome, no matter how many mistakes you make. But learning to always choose an awesome thing, an awesome choice, that's where the challenge and the test is. And not all choices are awesome. And that's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us. Umar bin Abi Salam, al-Hadith Sahih, let me finish with it. He says, I was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a little kid, and he was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, I'm eating and my hand is all over the place. And you know they used to eat from one place. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, Ya ghulam, sammillah, say Bismillah, wa kul mimma yalik, and eat from that which is in front of you. Etiquette of food, teaching him. He tells Ibn Abbas, إذا سألت فاسأل الله. وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. Ya ghulam, oh young man, if you ask Allah. Teaching. Teaching. Why? Because he sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلُّ رَاعٍ مَسْئُولٌ. All of you are responsible for those to pass down and train them and make them better people. Though we are not the standard, the Quran tells us it is the standard, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the standard in human beings. For us Muslims. And it's all good things and all decent things and all things that we ought to look for. I say when we outsource education to movies and celebrities and things that we think are the hit today, we ought to take a stand a little bit. And if you want to engage in that, make sure you're watching critically and not accepting everything without any filter. Otherwise, this becomes your source of who you are, not the Quran or the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'll tell you, we know from the Quran and the Sunnah that the end result is guaranteed and secured. But other people's input may be so, maybe not. May Allah guide us all. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا كما أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إرغاما لمن جحد به وكفر. أشهد أن سيدنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم الشفيع المشفع في المحشر. صل اللهم عليه وعلى آله أهل الفقه والنظر والعلم والأثر وعلى من بآثاره مقتفى واهتدى واعتبر. عباد الله اتقوا الله العظيم حق تقواه، راقبوه مراقبة من يعلم ويعتقد بأنه يراه. تزودوا من دنياكم لآخرتكم عملا يحبه ويرضى. اعلموا أنه لا يضر وينفع ويعطي ويمنع ويصل ويقطع ويخفض ويرفع إلا الله. اعلموا أن الله تعالى أمركم بأمر بدأ فيه بنفسه وثنى بملائكة قدسه. قال تعالى ولم يزل قائلا عليما إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم. بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين، أعلي يا مولانا كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم من أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين خيرا فوفقه إليه من أراد بهم غير ذلك فاهده يا ربنا سواء السبيل. آت أنفسنا تقواها زكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. اشف اللهم مرضانا، عاف مبتلانا، فك أسرانا، ارحم موتانا، اغفر اللهم لنا ولوالدينا ومشايخنا ومن له حق علينا ولمن على الخير أعاننا وعن الشر أبعدنا، ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات، إنك يا ربنا سميع قريب مجيب للدعوات. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وآله. أقم الصلاة.